Hey everyone. Okay, so one thing I surprisingly liked about this chapter and the dynamic between Osaragi and Dump during their fight is how it really does get at the hypocrisy of this world and how no matter how you sugarcoat it, both Osaragi and Dump are killers. It's just by technical definition, Osaragi is a government-sanctioned killer, and Osaragi herself also has some interesting bits of dialogue hinting at a backstory because before killing Dump, Osaragi says, "The JAA is my home. The Order is as well." Which, yeah, if that is the case, I have several questions about the JAA's hiring practices. Like as weird as it sounds, this chapter more than others have definitely clued me in that something just isn't kosher about the way about the JAA's operation and how they're finding all these people in order to in order to you know in order to help in order to train them to become assassins. Like I don't know I don't know the specifics obviously, but again, something just isn't right. Something just doesn't feel right about all of this, just how they're doing all this. Like, something just isn't lining up as, like, just genuinely ethical, in my opinion. Like, I've just got a really bad feeling that the JAA aren't as squeaky clean as we think they are when it comes to this particular method. Now, in saying that, I do want to talk about Dump's backstory for a second because I'll preface it by saying she is a killer regardless of her reasons. Like the amount of bodies she's racked up, yeah, there's no going back or redemption for her. But in saying that, Dump's backstory is still kind of interesting when viewing it through the lens of just how shallow the idea of love can be and just how Dump herself was almost incapable of feeling love despite all of these people saying many different forms of they loved her. Like she herself was just completely incapable of feeling any sort of emotion in regards to love her entire life because in some form or another, they probably didn't mean that they loved her. It was probably just more of a lust thing. So to fight against and get killed by the one person who generally meant it, in a weird fucked up way, it probably left Dump with some amount of solace before dying, knowing that at least one person had genuinely meant it when they said they loved her. In saying that, if I do have maybe one issue with this backstory, and it's really a nitpick, is that I would have liked it if we could have gotten maybe a little snippet that explains how she got her powers. Although, admittedly, when it comes to the way Suzuki writes, I'm imagining his motto is powers aren't as important as the person who wields them. Like he'll in his way of writing is he'll always put more of a mandatory view on writing the character rather than anything having to do with their powers. I'm imagining that's kind of his whole thing. I also really like how this chapter had a very sort of casual approach to the ideas of faith, even to the point of it being a little humorous. As with Dump, she believes in the idea that heresy against the gods is bad karma. In this case, Osaragi kicking the head off a statue, whereas Osaragi believes that gods are benevolent, but maybe a bit too kind. It's like when she talks about how Dump is a serial killer and the gods must be too kind to let someone like that to envision someone like that in their world. But again, it's not important as the other parts of this chapter, but it does, like, little things like that do add a bit of flair to these characters and their fight, frankly, in my opinion. But yeah, guys. But yeah, most like I said, most of this was just really focused on Osaragi versus, like, the majority of it was basically the entirety of this chapter was the Osaragi and Dump fight. So, like, yeah, there's not much more to talk about other than that. I will say again though, like I said before, I am generally curious about Osaragi. Like I want to know definitely more about her after this. Like, because the one thing that does, like, going aside with that orphan thing though, I wonder just what her history is, what her life was before this, because the thing about Osorogi is she always has very dead eyes. So it's like, what happened in her past of where it feels like she's got all the life strained from her is my question, I guess. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe for me on Blue Sky, and it's Crunchyroll. Be sure to bell, the subscribe button, and just share it around, guys. Dark Knight of Night signing off. Later, everyone.